What are my options when one of my parents needs care, but the other is completely independent? This is a very common question that we get for a lot of families, and we're happy to provide these answers for you. So, the first option would be home care. So, what this is a private caregiver that comes directly to your home, and they help with activities of daily living. So, what are activities of daily living? Well, they assist your mom or dad with showering, dressing, toileting, any transfers. They also give medication reminders. They help with cooking, cleaning, and can also run errands with your loved ones. So they can go grocery shopping with them. They can bring them to and from doctor's appointments. The only thing that they can't do is they cannot actually physically give medications. A home health agency would have to do that, but they can give medication reminders. Now, I know you're wondering about the cost. The typical cost for home care in the Scottsdale and Mesa area starts at about $35 per hour. Now, this is private pay. Medicare and Medicaid do not cover home care services. Home care is a great option if your parents really want to stay at home and they just need some assistance with some daily living. Usually, it's a good option until they start needing about 6 to 8 hours per day of assistance 7 days a week, and then it starts to get quite pricey. At that point, it's worth having the discussion about looking at a community or a care home with your parents because it would be more cost effective. The other option is a traditional community. So, what is a community? Well, these are resort style properties that are built for seniors to age in place. Some have independent living, which means that they would have an apartment. They wouldn't receive any help with their activities of daily living or any kind of med management. Some do offer 1 to 2 meals per day in independent living. It's always restaurant style dining. Assisted living, that means you are getting help with your activities of daily living as well as medication management. That's very similar to what you would receive with home care, but they can actually administer the medications. And then finally, a lot of them also have memory care, which is specialized dementia care. You do need a diagnosis of dementia to be accepted into a memory care unit. So here's where it gets a little tricky. So, say dad or mom is completely independent and the other spouse has a diagnosis of dementia and they need specialized care. They can live in the same community, but whoever is independent or assisted would have their own apartment in the independent or assisted living side, and the loved one that needs memory care would be in the secured memory care wing. They unfortunately could not live together unless they both had a diagnosis of dementia. So, what's the typical cost for a community? Well, I can give you the starting rate. For independent living, again, that means no assistance at all. You'll get weekly housekeeping, maybe 1 meal per day. That typically starts around $2,500 plus a second person fee. All these communities are going to have a second person fee. Those range anywhere from about $800 to $1,200 a month. In addition, for assisted living, this is where you would get help with your activities of daily living plus your medication management. They start about $4,500 per month plus a second person fee. So if mom or dad, one of them was independent, the other needed assisted, they could live together. Plus, on top of that second person fee, you also have what's called a level of care, which is determined by a community nurse's assessment. And these really range anywhere from an additional, say, $600 per person all the way up to $3,000 per person. So it can get quite costly. And then you have memory care. So this is specialized care, and that typically starts around $6,000 per month plus care. It is going to be the most expensive of the three because it's very specialized care and a secured wing. So that is going to be the most costly. And community as a whole is going to be the most costly of the three. And the reason being is because they have all the activities, they have the restaurant style dining, all the outings. It really is like resort style living. So that's what you're paying for. The third option would be a traditional care home. Now, these are regular homes in residential neighborhoods. Who knows, you might even live next to one and not even know it. They're either licensed for 5 to 10 residents. Very similar lifestyle to home care, so it is a residential home. You do have the option of either a private room, some have also private bathrooms or Jack and Jill shared bathrooms, or a shared room to save on costs. At these care homes, they are state licensed. They have state certified caregivers providing the care. So they do all the activities of daily living. So the showering, dressing, transfers, medication management. They also have mobile doctors that come to all the homes as well too. And they also provide home cooked meals. So this is good for someone who really wants just a home-like environment. Maybe they have a very high level of care. And or specialized care that they need that a lot of these communities can't provide, or they're just sometimes not overly social people. They just want a nice, calm, relaxing environment. That would be a good option for them. So when it comes to couples living together, there are certain homes that are called primary bedrooms, and this is the largest room in the house. Typically, they also have a full bathroom. These usually start around $7,000 to $8,000 per month, but it is a nice option for couples if they do want their own space. Just keep in mind, if mom or dad is very independent and the other spouse needs a lot of care, it's going to be very hard for that independent resident, because individuals that are in a care home typically need quite a bit of care. It's not going to be a very social environment. There is no built-in transportation, so you'd be required to provide all the transportation. They do have the mobile doctors that come through as well, but it is a more quiet environment. Typically, it's best for the person that needs the most care to live there on their own than to have the spouses live with them, just for quality of life reasons for the more independent person. But you are free to visit. You are free to take your loved one out for any kind of outings, for even vacations. You have that total freedom. For a private room care home, they typically start around $4,500 per month. We don't see as much of a price fluctuation as we do with the communities, because there is no level of care really. So you kind of tend to have a more set price, unless you say you need some basic help with ADLs and all of a sudden you're bed bound, then you would see a little bit of an increase. But it's not as drastic as what you'd see at a community. And then for a shared room, it's either a male with male or female with female. Those typically start around $3,000 per month.